Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Today we're making these super sweet heart coasters. They're large enough where you can put your cup of coffee right on them and you still have a little spot for your spoon or a cookie or a chocolate. They make a super great gift. Yes, all my hooks. They're just really, really wonderful. They work up quick. It's not as challenging as you think, and it starts with just a simple granny square. So that is the easy bit, and then we just change it for 2 more rows, and we have a fabulous heart. You can make it smaller just by stopping, not doing the very last round, or you can do the last round and not add the borders, or you can just add the single crochet border. You can also just do a loop border. So there's lots of different finishes you can get from the very same tutorial. So we'll be stopping at all these spots along the way to give you your options of how you can customize them for your project. I'm just using my scraps of leftover natural cotton. So this is 100% cotton. They're 100 gram balls, or they were before I started using them, and they're 180 meters. I am also going to be using a 5mm hook, my favorite scissors, and my favorite needle. So links for all of this are in the description box below. There are affiliate links for the hooks, the scissors, and the needles, and the yarn. So if you are thinking of getting the yarn or the supplies, click on a link and then go into your shopping, and a small commission will go towards the Secret Yarnery at no additional cost to you. So if you're going to be shopping, it would be great if you clicked on a link first. And thanks in advance for everyone who has and will in the future. So I am using one of these colors for the centers of my hearts. So just pick a color that you want to do. I will do the red. The first 2 rounds are just the same as a traditional granny square. So we're going to start by making a slip knot. I just wrap the yarn around 2 fingers and poke it through, poke the working yarn through, but you can make a slip knot any which way. There's actually really cute ways of doing it. I just don't do it that way. And put it onto your hook. And we're going to do a chain 3. So just push your hook onto your yarn and lift it up and give it a turn and bring it through. So that was our first chain, and here's chain number 2 and 3. And now we're going to turn this into a ring. So we're going to count our stitches, our chains. We don't count what's on our hook, and we don't count that little knot where we started. We just count these V's going up. So there's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go right into the first V. So just on top of that knot, grab your tail and your yarn and push your hook into that first chain, just like that. And now you're going to get yourself situated, so kind of fold that tail down along your work and poke open that center of that U so you can hold open the center of your work. That's going to turn into the center of your ring, and we need to just keep track of it. So now grab your yarn and bring it through both loops on your hook, still making sure to hold that open. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Wrap your yarn and go right back into where you're holding it, because that is the center of your ring. Push your hook in, grab your yarn and bring it back. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. So there is our chain and our first double crochet, so that counts as 2 double crochets in this pattern. Wrap your yarn and back into the center of that ring. You don't have to hold it open anymore. You'll see it stays open on its own, and you go into the exact same spot and make 1 more double crochet. So that is one side of our granny square. Chain 2 for your corner, 1 and 2. Wrap your yarn, and now 3 more double crochets into the center of that ring. So there is our 3 double crochets and another side of our square. So we've done 2 sides of our square now. Chain 2, 1 and 2. Wrap your yarn and go right back into the center of that ring. 3 more double crochets. Now when I get going too fast or you haven't caught up, just pause the video and then finish your stitches and then press play when you are ready. To get more space into the center of that ring, grab that chain, the first chain that you made, just grab that side and grab your double crochets on this other side and just pull that ring out and slide your stitches back, and we'll get a whole bunch of more space in that ring to make our next set of 3 double crochets. So chain 2, 1 and 2. Wrap your yarn, go right into the center of the ring, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So we're going to make 2 more double crochets to finish up our square. Now to join, we want it to be a bit invisible. We want to hide how we do things, be a bit mysterious. So we're going to do a chain 1. And now we're going to do a single crochet to join. So we can see that this top of this stitch is the top of that double crochet, and the top of this stitch is the top of that double crochet. So there's 1, 2, we need to go into this next chain over. It's also the 3rd chain up. If you can look down, there's a little tiny V down there. So there's 1, 2, and 3. But I just like to count over and then go into the next. So that lines up, it's this one here. And it looks a little bit like it's laying down, it's like on the side. But we just want to get our hook into that stitch, and you want 2 loops of that stitch on your hook. So no wrapping your yarn, just go straight in, push your hook into the top of that chain 3, grab your yarn and bring it back. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. So that's a single crochet. And that is the center of my corner. There's 3 double crochets and 3 double crochets. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. That counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to put 2 more double crochets right into that corner space. So wrap your yarn and 2 double crochets. Don't know if you can hear the wind, but it is very windy today. So there's our chain and our 2 double crochets, so that counts as 3. Now what you can do right here is just grab a stitch marker and slide it right into this corner, right where you did your chain, right in the corner of that first square that we did. I just want to put a stitch marker in there. That just means I'm going to pay attention when I work my way around, so we don't just keep going on this side and forget where our corner is. This just marks our corner. So yarn back on your hook. Wrap your yarn, and we're going to make a corner into the next space over here. The next corner space gets a corner. So that is 3 double crochets. So just wrap your yarn and go into that corner space and make 3 double crochets. So wrap your yarn, go in, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, and we'll do 1 more double crochet for a total of 3. And to get around the corner, we do a chain 2. 1, 2. Now we can slide those stitches back. So just grab that corner below and your stitches and just slide them back so you get some more space here. You want to make sure you're always working onto the previous row, not over top of your new stitches. And now 3 more double crochets into the same spot. So there's our corner. We're going to do that in every corner going around. So here's our next corner. So our corners are 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Chain 2, and our last 3 double crochets into that same corner spot. Now just jump straight into the next corner and do the same thing. 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Just pause the video and get your stitches done and then press play again, and I will be waiting for you. So we did our 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets, and we see our stitch marker here, so that just helps us slow down. If we didn't have our stitch marker, it would look like we would just keep going and then we would lose this corner over here. So that's why it's just easier when you're beginning, even later on if you're not paying attention or you're watching TV, just throw a stitch marker in so that you can see where you need to go. So we can just take that out now because we know we have to slow down. Wrap your yarn, go right into that corner space. We've done 3 double crochets, so we need to do the rest of the corner. So 3 double crochets and then our join. So wrap your yarn and 3 double crochets. And to join, we're going to do the same thing. So chain 1 and single crochet to join. And just find the top of the chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, or over 1, 2, and 3. We want to go over there, and we want to get 2 loops of that stitch on our hook. So push your hook in. See how there's 2 strands on my hook? Might be hard to see, but there's 2 strands on my hook. Bring your yarn back, wrap your yarn, and take off 2. So that is a single crochet. So we're going to join with a chain 1 and a single crochet. And that is our granny square. That's the beginning part of our heart. So cute. Now we're going to do the fun part of turning this square into a heart. So we're going to start the same way, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. That counts as your first double crochet. Wrap your yarn, go into that corner space, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So there's our second double crochet and now our third. Our chain counts as a double crochet in this pattern. So in this side space over here, we are going to do 3 double crochets, just a regular shell. So 1, 2, and 3, and all into the space. So that's a lot quicker than finding your stitch. And now into our corner, we're going to not totally do a corner. So this is going to be the bottom of our heart, and now we're doing the side. We're coming up along the side. We're going to do a big whoop and pin it down over here. So onto this side piece here. So just wrap your yarn, no chaining in this area. We're just doing double crochets. So into this corner spot, make 4 double crochets. This is the side of our heart. So there's 2, 3, and 4. And if I'm too fast, just pause the video, catch up, and press play again. So there is our side. Now along this is going to be the big bumpy bit. We're doing this big bumpy bit there. So now you're going to wrap your yarn twice. And into this spot, into the side space, we're going to make 12 treble crochets. That's American terminology. In the UK, I think it's a double treble. But we just wrap your yarn twice, go into that corner space, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So there's our first treble crochet. We need to do 11 more, so wrap your yarn twice, go into the same space, wrap your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2, wrap your yarn and take off 2. There is our 12 treble crochets. You can just count them by just separating them with your finger. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And now into the next corner spot, we're just going to slip stitch. So just push your hook in, grab your yarn and bring it back, turn your hook and take that loop off. So that's just a little slip stitch. And we have done one side of our heart. So to do this other side, we're just going to do our 12 treble crochets right into this space. So wrap your yarn twice and 12 treble crochets. So there's our 12. So just give them a quick count to make sure you have 12. And then into this next space, we're going to do our side, which is 4 double crochets. So just wrap your yarn once and make 4 double crochets. Regular side here, so that's just 3 double crochets. And here is our corner at the very bottom. It's going to be the tip of our heart. So 3 double crochets. And now you can decide if you're going to keep going to make it bigger, or we're just going to do a chain 2 and slip stitch to join. You could totally just be done with your heart if you liked it to be this size. It is a heart, and you're welcome to stop right now. It would look super cute either just leaving it like this or putting the same border that we're going to put on later. It's just an option, or if you're making a variety of sizes, this is the smallest size. If you are stopping now, you will do a chain 2, 1 and 2, and slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to join. So you're just going to push your hook in, bring your yarn back, and bring your yarn through. So there's your slip stitch. You'll chain 1, cut your yarn, pull your hook up and your yarn through, and your heart will be finished. But we are going to keep going. So I'm going to undo that. And we're going to join in the same way we did before. So that's a chain 1 and a single crochet to join. So just push your hook in to the top of the chain 3. Grab your yarn and bring it back. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. Now we're doing our next row down here is just going to be single crochets. So chain 1 to get a little bit of height. Now find the very corner, so 3 double crochets on that side and 3 double crochets on the other. And no wrapping your yarn, just go straight into that corner and make 1 single crochet. So grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So that is a single crochet. Now our next stitch is a bit tricky to see because it's our chain. So there's a little hole here where that chain is. So we're just going to work right into that hole, right there. So into the top of that chain, 1 single crochet. And now the next one is also tricky. It is this guy. So this is a normal looking stitch. That's normal. This little guy before, that is a stitch. So you have to pick up the little guy and then find his partner at the back. So that little thing here is a stitch. So no wrapping the yarn, but we got to pick up the little guy and find his partner at the back. So still 2 loops of that stitch on your hook. Grab your yarn and bring it through, wrap your yarn and take off 2, so single crochet. And we're going to do 1 single crochet into each of these stitches all the way up until we reach our treble crochets, this big stitch here. So all the way along, 1 single crochet into each stitch, like that. Now if you separate your work or you pull your stitches a little bit, you will see we get to start having a big, larger stitch here. That guy. It's the top of our first treble crochet. So that is where we're going to change what we're doing. So into the top of the first treble, if you just separate it, like pull your stitches apart, you'll see this big space, the big top of the stitch that's on top of the first treble crochet. So into that one, we're going to do a half double. So wrap your yarn, push your hook into that stitch, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn, and take off all 3 loops. So there's your first half double. We're going to do that again. So there's 2 half doubles on each side. Wrap your yarn, take off all 3 loops. And now we're going to do 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches, one double crochet into each stitch. So wrap your yarn and go into the next stitch, making 1 double crochet and 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So that is working up along the side of our heart. We're kind of starting to taper it out because we want to have a nice, luscious, rounded heart. Into the next stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So 1 double crochet and our second double crochet into the same stitch. So we're doing an increase. Looks like that. Into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Into the next stitch, 2 double crochets. So we're just going to alternate our increases. We're going to put an extra double crochet into every other stitch. So we did 2, 1, 2, 1 into the next, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets into the next stitch, 1 and 2 into the same spot. Wrap your yarn, 1 double crochet into the next. And now we just have these 2 stitches left. So into the next stitch, we're still going to do an increase, but we're going to change it up a little bit. So 1 double crochet into the next stitch and 1 half double. So wrap your yarn, go in, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off all 3 loops. So a half double is just a bit shorter. It's just going to help contour our heart. And into the next and last stitch, 1 single crochet. So that one, no wrapping your yarn. You just go straight in, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2. Now into this space down below, we're going to do another slip stitch into the same big hole down there. We're not doing anything different. Go into that hole, grab your yarn and bring it back, turn your hook to take off that loop. So that's just a slip stitch. Into the next stitch, now we get to look for it. It is right here. It's right where we kind of are. It feels like we're a bit on top of it. So kind of hold your hook to the side and go into that very first stitch with 1 single crochet. And then into the next, we're going to wrap our yarn and do a half double. So that's a wrap your yarn and take off all 3. Ooh. There we go. And then wrap your yarn and do a double crochet into the same stitch. So that's wrap your yarn and take off 2. Oops. There we go. Wrap your yarn and take off 2. So that is that's our increase, so 2 stitches into 1 stitch. So the next one, just 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochets into the next, 1 double crochet, and 2 double crochets into the next. So we're just alternating doing an increase every other stitch. 1 double crochet into the next, 2 double crochets into the next. Remember to pause the video and just catch up. Now, if you pull your work apart, you pull your stitches, there's 4 stitches left. And so there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So no more increasing. Into the next 2 stitches, 1 double crochet into each. So double crochet, and into the last 2 stitches here, the last 2 treble crochets, we're going to do 2 half doubles, 1 into each. So wrap your yarn and go in, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off all 3. And we'll do that again into the next. Wrap your yarn, go in, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off all 3. So there's our 2 half doubles. That just tapers our side nicely. And now all the way along this side, 1 single crochet into each until we get to our corner. So for singles, no wrapping your yarn. And you just go into these stitches. There's a stitch, and here, here, here. You just want to slide it underneath that V, and you want to get both strands of that V on your hook. So 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I'll meet you at the tip, or when we reach the end of this side. Into the corner, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, because remember we have 1 single crochet into that corner space when we joined. So we're going to slip stitch right here underneath just that first proper stitch and getting both of those loops of the V on your hook. Just push your hook in like that, grab your yarn or bring it back, turn, and bring it through. So there's your slip stitch. Chain 1 to secure your yarn. cut your yarn, pull your hook up and your yarn through, and snug that down to secure. So there is the center of our heart. You can also, again, leave it just like this. It's super cute. But we are going to keep going and start with our layer of white just around the edge. So just pick one of these stitches, push your hook in. You want 2 loops of that V on your hook, whichever one you're going to pick. Like that. Loop of yarn on your hook, bring it through, and slip stitch with both to join. Drop your tail, chain 1, so that counts as our first single crochet, even though it doesn't look like a single crochet. And now 1 single crochet into each stitch. So that's no wrapping your yarn, just push your hook in, grab your yarn and bring it back, wrap your yarn and take off 2. So we're going to do that into every stitch. Just like this. At the tip of our heart, the very bottom part, we did 3 stitches into that space. So there is 3 stitches down there, and we're going to turn the center stitch into our next bottom of our heart. So there's 1, 2, that's a bit of a messy one, and 3. So we're going to go in to the first one and just do a regular single crochet, and into the next we're going to do 3 single crochets. So push your hook in and bring it back. You can also lay that yarn on the other side if you want to go over it. 1 single crochet. We're going to make 2 more. Here's our second one, all into the very same stitch, and our third one, like that. Now go along this side. So 1 single crochet into each stitch, going all the way up, and I'll meet you when we get to this top center of our heart. There's our last stitches, so here is a stitch, and there is a stitch. This one on an angle, this weird thing, that is not a stitch, that's our slip stitch. So single crochet into the next, and last 2. That's our last stitch right there. Single crochet. And now we're just going to slip stitch way down here, the very same spot we did before. So just this big corner, just push your hook in. You don't want to have a big loop on your hook. You want to have your hook behaving. You want it to be snug. So regular size loop on your hook, down into the space, grab your yarn, turn your hook, and bring it through that loop. Just like that. Now we're going to go into our next stitch and make a single crochet, which is this stitch right there. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then they look the same going all the way along. So just this first one right by the slip stitch, that is a stitch. So we're going to do a single crochet. And now 1 into each stitch until we reach our join. So into our last stitch, single crochet. So now each stitch has something. Now we're just going to slip stitch to join. I just go straight into this V. I just kind of go in. You're technically supposed to pull up this front loop and go into the back loop kind of like that. I don't really worry about it. So whatever, you can do that if it works out. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. But I usually just go in, to be honest. So don't stress out about joining. You just want to do a little slip stitch. Chain 1 to secure your yarn, and cut your yarn. Pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down. So you can also quit at this stage when you just have a nice edge for your heart, but we're going to do one more layer, which is the next little row of cute pink ruffle. So grab your pink yarn or whatever yarn you want to use. You could use red again if you'd like, or you could have kept going with the white, but I think it looks nice with the 3 colors. So here is our heart. We're just going to work into the back to kind of see how it's curling towards us because we have not flipped our work. So for this final round, we're going to flip our work, which just means turning it over. We're going to work into the back side and put the point side up. And you will see there are 3 stitches that we made, 1, 2, and 3 into the tip of our V. So we want to go into the one right after. So 1, 2, 3, or the second one down on the side. It's a bit tricky to explain, but you want to go into the one right after the corner. So just push your hook into these dimples. Now on the back side, our stitches look like these dimples. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're a lot easier to see than working in the front of our work. And we're just going to go in to this one here. So there's the center stitch. Ignoring that, we're going into the one right after. So just push your hook right into that spot. Grab your yarn that you're going to be using. Loop of yarn on your hook. Bring it through and slip stitch with both to join. Drop your tail and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to skip a stitch. So skip the next stitch right here. We're going to work into the second stitch, or we're going to work into every other stitch and make 1 single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Skip 1, go into the second and make a single crochet. Chain 3, skip 1, go into the next, 1 single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 1, single crochet into the next, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 1, single crochet into the next. So we're just going to go all the way along the side doing this same thing, chain 3, skip 1, single crochet into the next. And I'll meet you when we get closer to being up here. So now you can already see how this side is laying nice and flat because we turned our work, and this other side is still all curvy and bent. It'll straighten out. That's why we turned our work, and that's why we're working into the back for the last round. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. When we get close to the center, we're just going to do the same thing. So single crochet into the next stitch. So here I'm not going to do any chaining. I don't want it to be really clustered in the very center. I want it to be a kind of a little more flat. So I'm just going to single crochet into the same stitch on the other side, just kind of make it a little mirror shape, like mirror each other. And chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 1, single crochet into the next. So I don't check my work right away. I'm going to move forward a little bit so I don't, because everything looks funny if you just stop and stare at it straight away. So let me work ahead, smudge like that. Now we'll turn and we'll just make sure that we like how it looks. Each of these hearts I've pretty much ended up a little bit different. It doesn't totally matter, but you just want this side to match that side. So however it works out for you, like this one I landed straight in the center, so that one worked out fine. This one I landed before, so I just copied it onto the other side. I've done it a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different times. So just make sure what you did on one side of the center, you mirror on the other side, and that will work out great. So now keep going, chain 3, skip 1, single crochet into the next, all the way down to the tip. So now it is laying nice and flat, just like a coaster should, or a Valentine heart. So just work down until you get to that tip, skip 1 into the next. There we are. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And now instead of going into that stitch we already did our joining into, I'm just going to push into the center bottom part. Let me show you. I'm just going to push my hook right into there any which way. I'm not really fussy about it. I just push my hook into that middle of that stitch I made. Just like that. And slip stitch to join. So for slip stitching, I use a lot of tension. I'm pulling on my yarn and turn my hook to bring it through. Chain 1 to secure my yarn. And now we are finished. So scissors, cut your yarn, pull your hook up and your yarn through and snug that down. Now we have a lot of ends to worry about, but that's not so bad. I just poke them all to the back, so at least I could admire my heart. And there we did it. There is our lovely, fabulous, super sweet crocheted heart. Isn't that great? It really was not as hard as you would think. And what a lovely gift. Wouldn't they just look so cute on a coffee table or at the office? They'd be so cute to just put a little chocolate on and give to friends and send to school with your kids or your grandkids. I just think they're so absolutely sweet. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button below if you have not subscribed to the channel already. We upload videos almost every weekday and do a live chat on Fridays. Love to have you join us. You can also tag me on Instagram at Secret Yarnery or find us over on Facebook, the Secret Yarnery Crochet Community. A great place to upload your pictures, and I'd love to see what you used for your heart. Don't forget to click on the links if you're going to do any of your shopping. I'd totally appreciate it. And have a super great day. Stay hooked.